Hi, welcome along to Man in the Mirror. It's Aubin Wills here. Now, Man in the Mirror is a podcast where each week I talk to a male guest about their work, about life, about some of those key items on their bathroom shelf, those things that they can't do without. And they give us some tips along the way of things that work for them. We also talk self-care, grooming, self-image, and what the guest thinks about the man that stares back at them in the mirror. Now, you know I like to bring you interesting guests on Man in the Mirror, and this week is no exception. My guest is the founder and chairman of Aubin Wills. It's Peter Williams. Now, you might know the name from the brand Jack Wills. It's a brand that Peter founded in 1999 down on the southwest coast. Jack Wills, as I'm sure you know, was a massive brand over the last 20 years with that kind of varsity, young British aesthetic. Did fabulously well. A few years after Jack Wills, he launched Aubin Wills, which was kind of like the big brother, big sister brand, slightly older demographic. And that's where I first encountered the brand. Some beautiful pieces for men, you know, really great jackets. I had a really great tweed jacket. Lots of shirt and trouser pieces, really, really good. There was a store in Shoreditch just off Redchurch Street, I think, that was one of the big Aubin Wills stores, which was amazing. He sold the brand a few years ago. There's new ownership now, so he's not connected to Jack Wills anymore. And then he took a few years out of retail. But last year, he relaunched Aubin just as a male brand. So now it's male clothes. And I went to visit the store just off Carnaby Street in London, and you'll see on my socials some of the spring-summer collections, some really great pieces. It's just as good, if not better, than ever. And actually, I think, you know, Peter was ahead of the curve when Aubin Wills and Jack Wills first launched. Aubin Wills particularly was much more about, you know, key pieces, slower fashion, buying things that were built to last. And that's definitely still the ethos of the brand. So Peter's back now with new retail partners and a web offering, and also the physical store, as I mentioned, in London. So I think you can find this a really interesting conversation. I certainly did. And here we go. It's Peter Williams, the founder and chairman of Aubin Wills. I'm Aubin Wills. Let's go. Welcome along to Man in the Mirror. It's Aubin Williams here. And I've taken another detour away from my home studio, and I'm in just off Carnaby Street in Newburgh Street in the Aubin store, and I'm here with Pete Williams, who is the founder and chairman of Aubin. Hi Pete, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Ed. How are you?
I'm really good. Look, thank you so much for doing this and agreeing to take part, because I know you're very busy. As I said in the introduction, I've spoken to journalists and brand founders before, but I haven't spoken about fashion brands and retail. So really interested to get you on the podcast, because I think there's so much crossover between, well, I mean, you're talking to a consumer that's interested in the world of clothes, but also that extends into music and, you know, skincare, all these kind of products that they use, and it's a certain kind of consumer. But I wonder if we can go back to the beginning. How did you get involved in retail and fashion? Was that your sort of first job?
Yeah, it was not 100% my first job, but not far off it.
Really?
So, I mean, it's a very good question, because all my mates fell about laughing.
Were you very sort of fashionable at college and school?
I mean, no. I mean, there's something to say that's still the case. I'm an economist by qualification.
Okay.
And I've got an economics degree. I played rugby, I did economics, I joined a strategy consultancy after I left university. And when was that? It was 1996. And then I got, just sort of through good fortune of the allocation system at the strategy consulting firm, I got to work for some amazing brands like Nike with the Nike Town Europe.
Great.
Orange, the future's bright, the future's orange.
Yeah.
Those of your listeners
yes.
of an age will remember that.
I certainly remember. Yeah.
And I realised that I became really fascinated by brands, and not just sort of premium brands, really.
So that was your way in then, through the kind of...
Yeah, my interest in the fashion industry came through an interest in brand and storytelling and creating a narrative, rather than I've been to fashion school. I came at it from a sort of product first point of view.
Yeah.
We all attack these things from a different angle.
Of course.
I attacked it from the brand point of view.
Yeah, yeah. What was it about? So it's the late 90s when Jack Wills was founded.
Yeah, started trading 1999. Yeah,
and it became successful pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yes. We sort of joke because probably getting my dates wrong now. We started trading in 99, and then it was the sort of .com boom, if you remember all that. Brent and Martha were becoming sort of billionaires.
Yeah,
a very low
last
point.
minute.
Standing in Victoria Station, I bought a copy of the Evening Standard, as one did in those days, rather than getting for free.
Yeah.
And sort of Brent and Martha were all over the front page of the Evening Standard, and I was thinking, sort of head in my hands, I've got a shop in Devon. What have I done? But in fact, it turned out right.
So for people who don't know, I guess the sort of foundations of the brand were down on the southwest coast. Why was it there? Because was that to do with this kind of look and feel of the brand, or were you living down there?
No. I was at university in London. I was living in London. I worked in London, and I didn't really have any connection with the southwest at all.
Right.
People always seem to assume that I grew up down there or lived down there, but in fact, I'd been there once.
Oh, really?
On holiday, and I thought it stuck in my mind as this place where the sun was always shining and everyone was gorgeous and having a great time and sort of hanging off the back of a speedboat or something. It's not quite like that.
So was it to do with that would be the right setting for the store?
Yeah, exactly. So you're back to this point about telling a brand narrative.
Yeah.
It articulates the positioning of the brand. Our first store in the US was in Nantucket and another one in Martha's Vineyard. It already positions the brand in a particular space without you having seen a single piece of the product.
And so if we fast forward to now, I'm in the, say, Newburgh Street, in the new look Aubin store. So you had some time away after you left Aubin Wills and Jack Wills originally 10 years ago. A while ago.
I stood down as chief executive, then I came back, and then stood down again. Then I live in the Cotswolds, so I've been very much enjoying not doing much.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there was still an itch that needed scratching or something like that. I don't know. And Aubin, we closed Aubin Wills down because we wanted to focus on Jack Wills, which was strategic. It was very disappointing. Caused me no end of grief at the time, but I think it probably was strategically at the time the right decision.
Did you feel slightly closer to Aubin and Wills because it was, I don't know, I'm not put words in your mouth, but did you...
You've got to love all your children equally.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, I mean, Aubin was a really, really beautifully constructed brand. We invested a lot of money, enormous amount of creative talent, a lot of the learnings that we'd sort of gathered from the first 10 plus years of Jack Wills. We really concentrated that into building the Aubin brand first time round. And it's actually because of how well it was constructed that when we closed it down, A, we got a load of grief, but B, 10 years on when we restarted it, there's all these brand devotees that have come out of the woodwork that, it's been wonderful.
Of which, we spoke briefly before we started, of which I am one, actually. And I remember a lot of the campaigns from that time. And I suppose, just because of my age and where I was in life, it spoke to me a lot more than, I wasn't a kind of surfy, younger kind of, I didn't, the Jack Wills thing wasn't quite for me, but the Aubin and Wills, some of the tailoring and featuring people like Alex James, it was fantastic. And I loved going to that Shoreditch shop that you had. So fast forward to now and it's back and it's just menswear, Pete, at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, so first time around we were men's and women's.
Yeah.
And actually men's was brilliant. The men's fashion business and the women's fashion businesses, they're almost like completely different industries.
Yeah.
They work in a very, very different way. And someone will probably point out a sort of an exception to the statement I'm about to make. But in my view, no brands do men's and women's equally well. You tend to major in one sex over the other. Right. And Aubin was very, very good at menswear, and it was more challenging in womenswear. It's not to say we didn't have a good female following, but it was a real home run in menswear. It was a bit more challenging in women's. So second time round, we wanted to just focus on men's. Yeah. And is that because, do you think that perhaps menswear can be a little bit slower in sort of turnover, and that we there's maybe we keep pieces for longer? I don't know. Yeah, I think the women's fashion silhouette changes constantly, season to season. It's the nature of fashion. It's in fashion 1 minute, it's out of fashion the next minute. That's how the whole industry works. Men's just doesn't really work like that. It's a much, much slower life cycle. Yeah. we're still wearing shirts, trousers, shorts, t-shirts. The range of product is pretty slim, pretty small.
I'm still wearing some of the same those shirts and jeans that I've had for a very number of years.
And almost they become more loved the older they are.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're talking about an in-fashion summer dress, well, I can't wear that this summer because I wore it last summer. That's a much. It's quite a distinct difference between the men's fashion industry and the women's fashion industry. So the first time around, the thing with Aubin was we were making a real stand against fast fashion. And
it was that period.
That was when it was just taking off. It was the whole Primark to Prada, Zara was exploding. It was a real moment in time where, it's remarkable because it was only 10, 15 years ago, but nobody was really talking about the environment.
No.
Then.
And it was just about how cheap it could be and how quick they could copy
This is how, look at my top. Where's it? Guess where it's from? Primark. Yeah. It was only £3.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who do you think made that?
Yeah, I know. And our eyes have been opened, I think.
Yeah, and also lots of fast fashion product is going into landfill, and it's everything about the supply chain. It's connected to global warming. I mean, there is nothing good about disposable fashion.
No.
And actually, so in many respects, Aubin was a decade before its time.
Yes.
Because now the message that we're talking about, this whole sort of better is greater than more, we're basically saying buy less stuff, but buy
some good stuff
that you just really love.
Yeah.
And you'll have it for years.
No, that really chimes with me. And we're here in the store, which is a beautiful shop just off Carnaby Street. Was having a bricks and mortar sort of physical presence, was that always part of the plan rather than just it's all going to live online?
Yeah, it's very difficult to build brands totally online. I've always been a massive champion of the physical shop. It's like Lego, it's fun. Everyone loves Lego because it's just great building stuff.
Yeah.
Making things, physically making things.
Yeah.
And shops are an embodiment of what the brand stands for. And so, personally, I kind of hate shopping, actually, just sort of like almost every other bloke, it seems.
Yeah.
But I love shops, and I love the way the brand, you can tell the sort of brand narrative, it all comes to life in a shop. The reality is most transactions these days, increasing number of transactions are happening online for convenience sake, and in many respects online is a better way of shopping, easier way of shopping,
but it's important to you.
But you still need to have a physical presence to almost sort of put a flag in the ground for shops. So we are opening shops. We've got another one in the pipeline.
Oh, great.
And I mean, never say never. I'm certain we will open more in the UK, but I mean, it'll be single digits. It won't be
so you just have to be a bit more judicious and careful about how you roll it out, I suppose.
Yeah, and they just play a slightly different role. Rather than being a kind of core commercial engine of the business, actually, you can be a little bit liberated from that requirement and perhaps be a bit more focused on the embodiment of the brand.
Yeah.
More so than this really has to, earn its crust.
It's a bit more sort of showroom and about the sort of look. But yeah, that's really interesting. Look, we will return to talk a bit more about Aubin later on in the podcast. But one of the things, as regular listeners know, I like to talk about bathroom essentials and this strange world. But I think it's something that again, sort of seems to be coming around, and there's a lot more interesting brands in this space now, and people talking about sustainability and the provenance of products and all those things. But it just I'm just quite nosy and always interested in what other men's morning and evening routines are like, and if you've got certain products that you kind of you tend to gravitate towards. So it'd be great if you just tell me about some of the products that you use. Have you got sort of hero products in your routine?
Well, I mean, I brush my teeth every day, at least
Excellent.
Today. That's been fairly religious bathroom activity since a young age. I mean, in keeping with, I suppose, lots of other guys. I know I haven't particularly used products, but as I was saying just before we started, my wife and I have known each other since we met on the school bus. I was 12 and she was 11. So she has sort of plotted my physical decline over the last, I'm 48, so yes, whatever that is, 36 years.
Yeah.
And so recently discovered the joys of various lotions and potions.
And that often seems to start from sort of, borrowing products from your wife. Was that how it happened, or did she sort of get you some things?
But Well, we've both known each other a long time. We've got teenagers knocking about the house. They just all look gorgeous, great, because they're young, and that's just a bit annoying that we're now old. And she bought me some sort of miracle Kiehl's product, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Is that a kind of one of the Kiehl's moisturisers?
Yeah, moisturiser, and the saggy eye stuff.
Yeah,
stops that. And I've always thought, this stuff doesn't really do anything, and actually, I think it does.
Yeah, really you've noticed a difference.
And then also my, I'm a ginge, but in fact, my mum is dark, and I have a ginger brother and I have a dark brother. So I'm sort of a bit of a blend. So I'm not one of those gingers that's white, then red, then white, then red, in between. I do actually sort of go quite orange.
Yeah.
But I like to spend almost all my time in the summer months outside. I mean, other winter, I'm a sort of real outside person. So I'm very conscious about
SPF,
and that kind of stuff. And I had a chairman who's sadly no longer with us. He was chairman of the Body Shop. CEO and then chairman of the Body Shop. And I remember years ago him saying to me, you should use SPF every single day of your life.
You're absolutely right.
And then also another friend of mine had cancer, some skin cancer recently, and it was fine, it was done, it was dealt with.
Good.
But his doctor said, the largest organ in your body is skin, as we all know, and if it dries out, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
And so you should moisturize your skin. Dry skin is. So all of this stuff, I feel like, late to the party.
Yeah.
But
better late than never.
Better late.
And so SPF wise, do you have a certain brand that you sort of gravitate towards, or is it just?
Well, I think the person that invented Factor 50 deserves the Nobel Prize, quite honestly, because my memory of holidays in Cornwall as a child is extreme burn.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just little freckles on my arm. Yeah, it was just sort of how it was.
We used to,
slap on the Factor 4.
Yeah, it was almost this kind of badge of honour, wasn't it, to sort of go for these really low factor sun creams, if at all, and also being fair skinned. I like going to hot places on holiday, and those things can be not sort of mutually exclusive in many ways. But Factor 50, and then I'm not worrying about getting burnt. Yeah, and that's just amazing. I like sailing, and so, it tends to be very sun intense environments. Yeah.
It's so liberating to not be worrying about getting burnt.
Yeah.
So my go-to is 30 at home. Mm-hmm. Actually, I should have looked at. I've got some fancy stuff that I did nick from.
Did you?
I like it because when you shake the bottle, it has a little ball bearing or something inside. It makes a noise.
Oh, it's not La Roche-Posay.
Yes, that's the one.
Little white box. For the face.
And I think it's
good.
Very fancy and very expensive,
but quite sort of thin, isn't it? It doesn't feel too good.
But so particularly where we've had some nice weather, I've been slapping that on every day. And also, the other thing about sun cream is it's like a little treat in the middle of winter, because you put it on and it just takes you to the beach. And the smell is so emotive.
Yeah, it's that Pavlovian thing. You kind of think about sunshine, beaches.
Oh, shit. No, I'm not. I'm in London.
And what about shaving and grooming? You're sort of stubbly, I would say.
Yeah, so I use a beard trimmer once a week.
Yeah. But you would tend to sort of keep a fair amount of stubble there. You don't go clean shaven.
No, my family are extremely rude when I go clean shaven.
And
I look like a really, really ugly woman.
It's horrible.
It's really repulsive, actually. Not how rude they are, just how I look. It's weird. It's because I've had a little bit of sort of stubble.
Yeah. No.
For years and years and years, that when I go clean shaven, which is sort of like. I don't know.
When would you do it? Why would you do it?
Funeral,
right.
I think. And maybe met Prime Minister. I don't know. I can't remember. So it was very rare occasions, and everyone is just sort of horrified to get just hiding for about a week. But it regrows.
But it really obviously, but it really changes how you look, doesn't it? I've kept this for years, and it just hides extra chins, and I just don't think I'd want to.
A bit of that.
I wouldn't want to get rid now. I don't think. Interesting. And
but it also so therefore some sort of entrepreneurial barber one day said to me, it's very drying, having stubble.
Yeah.
It's hydroponic or something. I don't know, whatever the word is. It drains some moisture out of the skin. So you should, feed your beard with beard oil and all that. And then, I've got some.
And I've got some.
It's a lucky day. And I actually still have this little bottle of cedar smelling.
Yes.
Which I sort of quite like. But it's a little bit greasy. And so I now just slap on my Kiehl's all over my face, and
that'll do the job.
Serves double purpose.
Yeah. And do you wear...
I only look 25.
It's amazing. And do you wear fragrance?
Yes, a bit. Normally, I'm not like a kind of lifer.
Yeah. Not got one signature scent that you kind of...
Signature scent. Tom Ford's probably the last one. Mm-hmm. But actually, very bizarrely, totally retro. I'd run out of Tom Ford stuff, and I found, when I was rummaging through my wardrobe the other day, an old... unopened bottle of one of the Jack Wills fragrances. My wife really loves teenage boys fragrances. That's gone by. So I put it on for a laugh.
Did it still smell good?
Yeah, I mean, it was unopened. There was nothing wrong with it at all. And she says she really liked it, so I'm going to work my way through that bottle.
And going back to that, what was the process when you did Jack Wills fragrances? Did you...
Yeah, we did quite a lot, actually. We sold a lot of fragrance.
And how were you sort of involved? Obviously, you had to prove it in the end, but you sort of license it out, kind of?
Yes, we originally did it in-house completely and only sold it through our own channels.
Yeah.
But one of the, even a reasonably sized business like Jack Wills, it's quite, you really need big distribution. That's why all the big brands are in all the duty-free shops and Boots and everything. So we ended up doing big distribution through Boots.
And it's quite a good sort of ancillary business, isn't it?
It's a great business. Yeah. The numbers are unbelievable.
Do you think you'd ever, in the new look Aubin, would that ever be something, would you ever think about doing fragrance or skincare or anything?
It's not really...
Not core to it.
It's definitely never say never. It's not on our radar right now. Which sounds like a sort of politician's answer.
No.
Genuinely not.
Well, I'm sure
trying to get the core business.
Well, exactly. It's quite new, isn't it?
Yeah,
So it started up again. 6 months? No, something like that.
We're about a year and a half. 18 months.
How long have you had this? Have you had the shop all that time?
This was open the day we opened. Yeah, right. This was the first. We're in about 20 John Lewis stores, and business is great.
And there's
super exciting.
Yeah. And Next are involved as well. Is it in?
So Next is a minority shareholder, Next PLC. And
can you buy it on Next's website?
No. You can buy it on Label, which is where they sell third-party brands.
Right.
Sort of. But so the sort of theory of it was just all the learnings from Jack Wills, right? So as a founder of a brand or a product, you start with an interest in the product or the brand and/or the brand. And then you either succeed or you fail. So the assumption you succeed, you then keep doing that. And as you grow, you start to spend less and less time on that product and brand and more time on all the other shit that you have to do to get the stuff to market. I spent an awful lot of time, and we invested millions of pounds in warehousing and distribution and IT systems and all that. And at the end of the day, you just got to spend all of your time obsessing about the customer and the product. Right? And at any minute you're not doing that as a brand owner is a minute wasted, really.
Yeah.
And it's when you take your eye off the ball. And so we said, well, when we were designing the whole strategy second time round, we said, well, if you create, what's the business strategy that's fit for purpose for today with no legacy issues, which everyone is dealing with all the time? We said, well, we really want to be a product and marketing business. So we just want to focus on designing and making and marketing amazing product. And we don't want to have to think about the back end infrastructure.
Yeah.
We want amazing people, best in class people doing that. And they really are.
Yeah.
And they spend, and we want them spend all day, every day thinking about that and making that better. So we set out to say, well, who's the best in the business at that? And it's Next. Simon Wolfson. So I spoke to Simon and explained what I was thinking of doing, and we came to an arrangement. And so, in very simplistic terms, Next is a shareholder, but they also run the back end.
Right.
But to the consumer, we're Aubin, and gets delivered in an Aubin bag. And
it makes so much sense. And I can only imagine as as we all, as the whole online shopping thing has matured, we as consumers, we expect so much from it, don't we? And, be able to return super easy and packages to arrive and all of that, there's a whole infrastructure around that that's massive.
I remember with Jack Wills, there was a moment when I was driving up the motorway and I overtook a Next lorry and it said on the site, they just launched this, order by 10 p.m, guaranteed free next day delivery. And I remember this, like my head in my hands thinking,
what? How?
Oh, God. Because it just raises the bar.
Yeah.
In the eyes
it's what people
consumer.
expect, isn't it?
People go, well, Amazon gets this stuff to me the next day for free. And why can't you? And I'm like, it's really hard.
Yeah. Look at Jeff Bezos. He's all right. He's in a rocket. Yeah.
So that was the,
I think that's smart.
That was the theory, and the practice is working brilliantly.
Yeah. And when you retooled Aubin for now, did you have a certain sort of male consumer in your head? Who do you think the customer is?
It's quite broad, actually. We were very specific about age in the Jack Wills era, which was right for the time. And it's not really about age; it was more about life stage.
Yeah.
So it was around that kind of university thing, which is fairly explicitly age specific. I mean, you do get mature students and stuff, but we were trying to capture the zeitgeist of that period in someone's life where you grow through school, you leave school, you go to university and you leave it. And there's a series of things that are going on in that world that are very, very clearly identifiable. And we as a brand tried to capture that. And I think we did a fairly effective job of it.
Yes.
Aubin is a much broader age bracket, but essentially it's for guys who just have an interest in the product. We're not cheap, but we're not expensive. We're not expensive. We're very, very well priced for the quality of product that we sell.
Yeah.
And so the target customer is someone who, it's not just like I don't just need a shirt. Like my dad used to just wear a shirt, right?
Yeah.
He didn't care where it came from. He just put it on because he couldn't walk around naked.
Yeah. Well, my dad would get my mum to go and buy him a shirt and that kind of thing.
Exactly. So we were, our aspiration, somebody said to us the other day, how they see Aubin is as being really cool but not intimidating. And I thought that was really, I'm pleased that was how they described it, because that's how I'd like it to be described, actually. They were her words, they weren't mine.
Yeah.
But I thought that was quite a...
No, that's very fitting, isn't it?
Quite a nice soundbite. I said I was going to steal it, actually, which I just have.
You should. But you want there to be some kind of aspiration to it and for it to feel cool. I think there's got to be some
story to all the products. So all distinct. We're talking about with women's wear, where you can play with the silhouette season to season, and that's what creates a difference. And the thing with menswear is the silhouettes they do change, but they change very, very slowly compared with women's. It tends to be over a decade rather than over a season. So you're limited in. It's like a white T-shirt. The Aubin white T-shirts are absolutely fantastic. And I love the Aubin. I was wearing it the other day, and I just was saying to somebody else, I just absolutely love this T-shirt. And on face value, it's just a white T-shirt.
Yeah.
So the skill of the design team and the product team is they don't have those silhouette tools to kind of play with like women's fashion have. They've got to take a white T-shirt that's got 2 short sleeves, a neck hole. Yeah. It's made of cotton. It's white. It's a real challenge to make a guy absolutely love that product. And that's what they're so good at. And so I think men's...
So you think it becomes about the quality of the material
and fit and the quality and the fabrication.
Yeah,
exactly. So the shorts the same. I live in shorts most of the time in the summer, and I picked up some shorts from here, but from the new collection the other day. I just came down the stairs, just put them on. I was like waxing lyric. on one level, it's just a pair of shorts. They don't look particularly different from anyone else's pair of shorts. So how is it that they've been able to make me, as soon as I put them on, go, I just absolutely love these shorts. Fit's great, colour's great, the fabrication is great, the wash level's just right, all the little details. Someone who has any vague interest in product, it's not fashion, but product, sees that it's a very considered product.
That's the magic, though, isn't it? Just making a man feel good in what they're wearing and give them a degree of confidence. And
and it's why blokes, they they have like a favourite jumper or a favourite shirt. I mean, we all do, right?
Yeah.
Favourite pants.
Yeah.
And it's...
What is it about those things?
What is it about those things, you know? And so that is the challenge that Aubin has, is every product that we sell is... Our aspiration is it becomes every customer's favourite product that they just want to hang on to. And when we relaunched Aubin, it was interesting because when the kind of word got out, the most common bit of like soundbite feedback we got was, I'm so excited to hear Aubin's coming back. I have this, take your pick, cardigan, jumper, shirt. It's got holes in it. I'm threadbare now because I just won't throw away because I absolutely love it.
That's great.
And that, I don't think you can say that. And it was very consistent, that feedback. And I don't think you can say that about that many brands. And that's very much what our thing is. So, you know, we'll see. But so far it's going quite well.
I know what I love as well. I've just been getting some of the mail outs and, you know, checking out the website and some of the posts. But I like the fact that it feels like there's a world around Aubin. There's certain kind of, you know, you're talking to different people, whether it's, you know, musicians or artists or I don't know. It just feels like I'm getting to learn about these different people, and there's a sort of culture and a world around the clothes, and making it feel a bit fuller and a bit richer than just, well, I'm just buying a shirt. You know, I'm connecting with people that you do these sort of profiles of people that wear Aubin clothes. I think that's really, really nice. Just put a world around it in a bit of context.
Yeah, that's what we call the Friends of Aubin program. And I suppose it's sort of like an official title to something that just happened very organically. Yeah. And slightly the philosophy behind it is, I just like meeting interesting people who are doing interesting things. So whether you've got, I don't know, you make coffee, or you've got a bar, or you're a poet, or you're a musician, or a, you know, whatever, environmentalist. If you're doing something which is interesting across a range of topics of which are sort of tangentially of interest to us, then it's just really great to hear about that. And also, as your businesses get bigger, you know, you meet. It's a tough old world out there, you know, and you meet people that don't necessarily operate to the same set of ethics that you operate to. Yeah, and we only work with people we've known for years, like literally 2 decades.
So some of the people that were involved before in terms of the design team and some of your team, have they come back on board? Is it like sort of assembling the old
Rachel,
crew?
The creative director, I recruited as a denim designer for Aubin 12 years ago. Known her for 20 years.
Amazing.
And so all of the core team, we've all worked together for donkey's years. Yeah. Our supply base are people that I've been working with for 20 years.
That must make it easier.
High level of trust.
Yeah.
Across the whole thing.
Yeah.
High level of, you know, I just know they are really high quality manufacturers that make a really great product in a really great environment.
Yeah.
And I only want to work with people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so all the under the friends stuff, you know, the common denominator is people that basically share our set of values, which is, you know, nice, decent people who operate on a decent basis, aspiring to make a well-designed quality product that we're all proud of. That's not going to knacker the environment. And, you know, I mean, that's all those things that we stand for. If the common thread that runs through those friends is that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, you know, subconsciously as a consumer of that stuff and having not met you, I think that's what it feels like. You know, you kind of want to be part of that club and that world. And it seems like a good bunch of people with sort of values that align with mine. That's good. Yeah.
And, you know, you've come across a coffee shop that you live in East London, you come across a coffee, you love it. And then you hear about us because they've started talking about us and we started talking about them, and that you just sort of create this ecosystem. Yeah, people with it's
how it used to be. People sort of helping each other out and looking out for each other. So there's obviously spring summer collection in store now. Are there a couple of key pieces that are doing really well that you could tell me about? What's flying off the shelf?
White stripy t-shirt. I can't remember the name of it. Which I came to pick up the other day.
Is it gone?
Sold out. That's annoying.
I've seen lots of people, or maybe it's just online, but there's a multicoloured shirt that's got lots of different patches of colour.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, shirts, generally speaking, in the summer, shirts and shorts. So basically shirts, T-shirts, shorts.
Yeah.
That's very much a staple guy's wardrobe, but that's probably what drives the the economics of the business in the summer, and what drives the economics of the business in the winter is overwhelmingly knitwear and shirts as well.
Well,
and are very reliable.
Yeah, it's nothing if not consistent. Yeah.
And the other thing, the other sort of added challenge for menswear designers is blokes also really only wear navy blue.
Oh, God. I feel very seen. Yeah, I actually busted out a grey shirt today, but yeah.
Well, the grey also falls into the palette, as does a bit of black.
Good. But is that true? I thought I was like, navy was my thing. Is that everybody's thing?
Everyone.
Damn it.
Just open your eyes. Honestly, the super cool lot, the super uncool lot, and everyone in the middle.
We're all in navy.
We all just wear navy.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
But, we get attracted to a brand because of the whiz-bang, like, pair of yellow shorts in the window. It's like, I'm never going to wear them.
Yeah.
I got to buy blue ones. But I love the styling. I love the outfit. I love how that cool.
True. Like everything in my wardrobe is a palette of denim, navy blue, light blue. Yeah. Wow.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought I was real unique. Something I ask the guest every time on Man in the Mirror is just about self-appearance, actually. And when you look in the mirror, what you see. So if you're doing your morning cleaning of your teeth, are you happy with the sort of visuals and what you see when you look in the mirror as a 48-year-old?
49-year-old. I think, I guess I am, if that doesn't sound... I don't mean that to sound egotistical.
No, it doesn't. And I'm conscious I'm asking, it's quite a weird question to ask, but how we...
British middle-aged man, that question.
I know.
How am I supposed to feel anything other than awkward?
I know.
No, I think unless you have, and probably even if you do have some sort of extreme facial disfigurement or whatever, it's probably not what you look like, is it? It's on the outside. It's probably how comfortable you are with yourself.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, I think that's intrinsic. That's part of it, isn't it? Do you feel happy with yourself when you look in the mirror, like where you're at and where you're at?
Yeah, I think, funnily enough, I spend a lot of time walking my dogs.
What dogs have you got?
I've got 2 Labradoodles, my daughter.
Lovely.
And Daisy. And, they chase the deer all over Oxfordshire, said my lead.
Notorious.
So, and I was thinking, I was walking through the countryside yesterday. It was an absolutely beautiful day yesterday. And I was thinking, it's an active choice, isn't it? To what your frame of mind is.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
So stuff hits us all the time, and we all have good periods and bad periods.
Yeah.
If someone dies that's close to you, then that's obviously an awful period of time. But it is also an active choice how you deal with all of that.
And how you're framing the stuff that comes in.
Yeah. So you can either let it, just sort of get you down, or you can not let it get you down, and you can take an active choice to do that.
Yeah,
I think I'm making light of it.
No,
belittling the people that struggle with mental health and whatever. But I was thinking as I was walking through this sort of gorgeous green countryside and bathed in sunlight, and the full knowledge I had my factor 30 on.
You weren't going to burn. But also, I think linked to that, there's, we don't often sort of stop and say, in this particular moment, I do feel pretty content with my lot, and I'm quite happy. And obviously there's always a ton of stuff going on, but that's just stopping going, this place is beautiful, or that smells amazing, or I love, anything of those small moments.
Call it mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I did attempt to read a book on mindfulness recently, and I literally didn't get past the 3rd page. I think it's full of, I'm just not very good at reading stuff, but I do think, we all want to be, slimmer and funnier and better looking and richer and all that kind of stuff. Well, it doesn't matter who you are. That's the same place to everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So therefore you can take an active decision to pursue all of those things.
Yeah.
I'm not really that sure it's a route to happiness, is it?
No.
So surely a route to happiness is focused on just being happy in the moment and having a nice time.
I had, in the last season, I had Richard E. Grant on the podcast, and he'd...
I saw his one-man show.
Did you? Yeah. So this was his whole thing, wasn't it? So it was at the time that he was talking about obviously the tragic death of his wife, but talking about that, the Pocket Full of Happiness book. And again, I think it's a lovely idea that's chimed with so many people of exactly that, of just making sure that within each day, you're finding, moments where you just take it in and, find moments of joy when things could actually, he has very good reason to be feeling pretty shit about things because his wife's no longer around.
Yeah, my father died last year.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
My mum is still alive.
Yeah.
They were very, very close and long time, very happily married.
Yeah.
And she said to me recently, she said, well, I won't obviously miss Dad a lot, and I wish he was still here, but he wouldn't want me to be moping about. So I feel like she's making an active decision to not let that defeat her, as it were.
Yeah.
And I think it's...
And that's a good example. Yeah.
It's quite inspiring, to be honest.
Totally. And so linked to this idea of happiness, what are the things that bring you happiness and joy?
Love walking my dogs.
The dogs.
I like being outside. I like playing with my tractors.
In your shorts?
In my shorts with my Factor 30 on. I love it when the sun shines.
Have you got a tractor?
I've got, a few vintage tractors. I like playing with tractors and farm machinery. Basically, I'm at 100% at my happiest when the sun is shining in the summer, playing with my vintage tractors. That makes me sound like a right loser. But yeah, I
love it.
Happy as Larry.
Pete, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a real pleasure to meet you. And I will take some photos upstairs so people can see how the store's looking. It's really beautiful, and wish you every success with the version 2 of Aubin. And I'll still put some program notes about some of the products you mentioned. But thank you so much for making some time to see me here at the store.
That's my pleasure. Really, really enjoyed talking, Hayden.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks to Pete for spending some time with me in the Newbury Street store, just off Carnaby Street in central London. Now, if you get the chance to go to London and see the shop, you really should. There's some really great pieces for spring, summer, some of which I've coveted and got my eye on, so I shall definitely be back to make some purchases. You can see some of that range on the website, which is www.aubinandwills.com. So it's all spelled out AUBIN ANDWILLS. So aubinandwills.com. And on Instagram, it's at Aubin and Wills, so just spelt out AUBIN ANDWILLS. If you want to find out more about Man in the Mirror, you can. My Instagram is at Man in the Mirror Pod, where I'll post information about future guests, past guests. You can find all the information there. So if you could give me a follow, it would be much appreciated. Thanks to Pete. Really great to hear from him and to find out more about Aubin and Wills. And thanks to you for listening. I'll see you next time on Man in the Mirror. Take care.